And in studio right now, she is running for Oneida County Family Court Judge, Julie Giruzzi Mosca. In full disclosure, I do television and radio media work for Julie in this race. And good morning.
Good morning.
So it's almost over.
Yes.
It's a long. I mean, I'm not sure that everybody, if you've never run for public office, you probably don't realize it's a lot of walking. It's a lot of talking. And even in a judicial race, which the rules tend to be a little different for judges.
Yeah, and as you know, this is actually, I don't want to call it a condensed race because it was, but we didn't. We were forced into a special election, so our time frame to campaign was shorter. And although that may sound good, it's really not because it forced us to do everything in the short period of time.
So why should people vote for you tomorrow as their next family court judge?
Because I believe that I have the experience that's necessary for a family court judge. You know, I've said this before, experience matters. Well, it does, especially in family court. I've been there for 17 years, full-time. Family law has been my concentration. I've never distracted myself and veered off in any other areas because I believe family court needs all your attention. If you're going to practice in family court, you need to be there all the time, working hard for the families and the children, and I've been doing that for 17 years.
So talk, if you could, about family court and what it means, what you're dealing with, the cases that you see, and how things have changed over the years.
Okay, and again, being that I started 17 years ago, it has changed somewhat, not as much as I'd like to have seen it change. We talk a lot about the abuse and neglect that we see, which it's horrifying, and I think I said this previously. What you see on the news and hear on the radio is just a minuscule portion of what we see and deal with every single day. So I mean that's what we see every day. But there's also the aspect of custody and visitation in family court. And you know, I know there's a lot of listeners out there who've been in family court and have experienced it. You know, we're still in an era where I don't think men get 100% equal access or equal rights that they should. And I have to say, we have some great judges on our bench that do that, but there's still an area where it's just not. When you're walking into a court for custody, before anything is said and done, when you're walking in that courtroom, mom and dad should be equal in the eyes of the judge until somebody can prove differently. Yeah. And I've said that before, and I repeatedly said it. I have many male clients because of that. They come to me because they know I'll fight for equal rights for them in the courtroom.
You know that I've been through this system.
Yes.
What seemed like when you're judging time is forever an actual proper term? Because I felt like I was in family court forever, but I'm not now. But if you can talk a little bit, and I know this probably doesn't help in terms of the job necessarily, but would you say? I tell people, based on my experience in family court, if you can come to an agreement beforehand, the kids are going to benefit, your pocketbook is going to benefit, both mom and dad are going to benefit. Can you talk about that a little bit? Absolutely.
And I think any attorney that works in family court that you ask that question will tell you the same thing. There's nothing better than having the parents work it out between them. And I can tell you right now, neither one of them are going to walk out with 100% of what they want.
Right.
But that's how it should be, because if you're being fair and equal, they're both going to get a little something, they're both going to lose a little something. When you go in for a judge, the judge doesn't know you, they don't know your personal life. They're only hearing what they hear that day on the stand, and the evidence that's coming in that day. And somebody could walk out very, very upset. Yeah. And the judges will even tell you that you really want to try and work this out between yourselves. And we do that. And some of our judges will say that when we come into the courtroom. Yeah. Do you need a minute to go out and discuss this? Because sometimes it's such a small issue that it could probably be resolved between the two attorneys and the two clients without having to involve the judch, which is great because that slows down the court system. The emotions are they just you hyper focus on things, and little things like I remember in one of my cases there was a whole big to do over a sippy cup. And you think, well, how ridiculous is that? But how many times have you seen stuff like that? My quote to my clients is always when they into that feeling, do you really want to pay me by the hour for the forks and spoons? Yeah. Really?
I know.
And when you say that, most of them will be like, I don't want to do that.
But it's easy to get caught up.
But it is.
It is really. Okay, now we didn't talk about this, but I do have somebody on 315-736-0186. You don't have to take phone calls, but there is somebody on the line that has a question. You want to take a call?
Sure.
Okay, it is Jeff in Rome with a question for Julie. Jeff, you're on the radio.
How you doing, Bill?
Good.
Julie?
Hi.
Just a couple questions. Me and my family here are trying to, go over, who we're going to vote for in this upcoming election. And Julie had stopped at the house, and we had talked to her during her campaign trail. And the flyers that we received from Mr. Deep claim experience. And obviously, me and my wife think experience is important in this election. He claims he has more experience practicing family law for 12 years. And Julie apparently has been practicing family law for 17 years. So my kind of question was really for Mr. Deep. I thought he might be on this morning. Is why is he claiming that he has more experience in family court?
All right. Well, I will tell you that we have asked Paul to come on, and he is in trial. So you tell me you dealt with him over the weekend.
Yeah.
So he's not able to come on. So he's not on. Is that your question? You want to answer that?
Sure. I mean, I can't speak for my opponent. I can just speak for myself. And as I said, I can tell you that, yes, I have been practicing. My concentration has been full-time in family court for 17 years.
All right. Is that it? Yep, go ahead.
Can I just follow up quick? And even in his 12 years, Bill, he's been an ADA in a different county. So he hasn't really been full-time, it doesn't sound like, in family court in Oneida County for 12 years. So, like I said, it's just the discrepancies you get in making a decision in your vote that I don't know who I'm voting for at this point. But I was just trying to get some clarification,
right.
As far as this goes. This misleading information is what gets me and my wife, confused.
Do you feel that because Paul's not here, do you feel Julie has misled you?
No. And like I said, if she's saying she's been an attorney for 17 years in family law, I'll hold it. That hasn't been questioned.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Now maybe Mr. Deep could call and question that. But all I'm saying is what I've read, him being in family law for 12 years, her for 17 years, how does he claim that he has more experience?
I see where you're going.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hang up on you and let Julie answer that, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Jeff, do you want to respond to that?
Okay, sure. And again, I obviously can't speak for Paul, and I'll speak from my own experience. I have been in family court for 17 years, almost exclusively. I do, as I said, I am in Supreme Court for divorces, but again, that's tied into family law as well. The only time I had ever had any other part-time job was approximately 8 years ago, and at that time, I was still had a private practice in family law, but I also worked part-time for the Oneida County Public Defender's Office and Civil Division, and that is family court. So in addition to my own family law practice, I was working part-time for the county, representing indigent clients in family court. And I can tell you, because I still think about this, back then there was a period in time as the only part-time attorney there. As a part-time attorney, I had a bigger caseload than one of the full-time attorneys. So between that and my private practice, I can tell you I have without doubt represented well over 1,000 families and children.
All right. Wow. Any questions? Anybody?
Yeah, I don't know how much you can say. Earlier, you said over the course of 17 years, you've seen some changes. You'd like to see more. Can you get into other changes in the system that you would advocate for? I know you talked about men and women being equal when they come into your court.
And I've also seen changes in the services that are being provided to people. So when someone's child is taken out of their home for whatever reason, whether it be drugs or domestic violence, alcohol, whatever it is, our county offers so many services to help these people get their children back. There's, there's Kids Oneida, which is great. There's so many services out there for them. Which
Peacemaker program.
Peacemaker is wonderful. I was on the board several years ago there, and just a great company, and there's another, and it's leaving my head right now. There's Kids Oneida, Peacemaker, and there's another one. Forgive me for not thinking of it right now. But we have so many more services now than we had before, and they need them. Sometimes people that have their children removed for reasons they don't know how to address the issues or how to get their kids back. Somebody has to help them. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to work on. And I do see that better now than it was when I started.
How about this change in the law where we're treating 18-year-olds? What is that?
Yep.
We just went through that.
Yep. So I think what that is going to do is clog up the courts a little more.
Clog up the courts,
because,
so put more pressure on family court.
But again, this is where the services that we're just talking about come in, because if you can help these children before it goes any further, get them these services that will get them on the right path, then they're...
I have one more. Michael in Rome. All of a sudden, you're lighting up the phone lines. But you do this because you do the thing on KTV. So you're going to probably get people to start asking you questions on family court, which we can't do at this point, like personal questions. But I'll quickly take this. Mike, you're on in Rome, and I got to move along. So make it quick here. Go ahead.
Real quick, they all say that men and women are going to be treated equal. Sometimes it's hard to see that. I just had a question for her as far as if she thinks that there's a certain age where, parent visitation should be split, like a week here, a week there, if there's maybe not a 2-year-old, but at what age does she think that that's acceptable?
All right.
That's a good question. And I don't think there is a specific age, because if you're separating and the child's an infant, the child at that age can't give their opinion on what they want to do. But, if you're going to start the shared, why not start it when the child's an infant and the child gets used to it and accustomed to it? The court also will look at, for shared custody, they have to look at location. So if mom's in, Old Forge and dad's in Utica, that's kind of hard to do shared.
Yeah.
So a lot of things go into that. But age shouldn't be. It's what's right. It's what's in the best interest of the children.
So each case individually, you'd say.
Absolutely.
All right. Does that answer the question, Mike?
It does. It's just I've yet to actually, see that occur. So hopefully she does make a change, because a lot of times moms and dads are, same areas, same stability, same finance. It doesn't work out that way.
I've been there. I know what you're talking about. So, all right, man. Thanks for the call. But you do get this a lot, right? I mean, This is it's the worst battle in the world. It's two parents, both in love with their children.
Yes.
And they're both, the judge has to make a decision.
So think about it. You both raised this child together in the house together, and now you're going to be in separate houses.
Yeah.
How are you going to decide? Yes, you both want your children. And nowadays, moms and dads work. Moms and dads take the kids to the functions, the school functions, the extracurriculars. Right. So why wouldn't they be treated equally in court?
All right, I have to stop there. We could take calls, because I can just see people saying, well, I'm in family court right now. Can you answer this for me? It's always a hot topic. We can't do it. Again, a final plea for people to cast their vote for you, for family court judge.
Yes, please. Think of me tomorrow when you're in that poll. Again, 17 years working in family court. My passion is children, and I want to help the children and the families, as I have been for 17 years.
All right, Julie, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Julie Giruzzi Mosca. We'll take a break.